All right, hello, welcome to the Referral Mastermind Call. If that's what you're here for, you're in the right place. I'm Mike Cerrone, and I'll be your host today. I'm excited about the call. Today, we're going to be talking about getting referrals and getting more referrals from our past clients, our friends, and our family, our close acquaintances, our SOI, our sphere of influence. And today is an open session, so we can talk about any topic that you would like to address. Let me just briefly mention what the mastermind is. I'm sure you're aware, but let's go through it. A mastermind is when two or more people come together and they brainstorm a solution to a topic that they focus their attention on. And often what happens in a mastermind is when you get 1 + 1, you can end up with 3, right? Because the power of this combined mind. That's the concept of the mastermind, and it's worked very well over the last century, thanks to Think and Grow Rich, the book Think and Grow Rich, and Napoleon Hill. He brought that concept to us when he observed the wealthiest people in the world and how they were brainstorming together. All right, so we've got the mastermind here together. We're going to be focusing on getting more repeat and referrals from our past clients, friends, family, sphere of influence. Let's do this. Let's open up. There may be a question or a challenge that you've had, say, over the last week or month or two, vis-a-vis referrals. Anything in your program that you would like us to address, or any challenge you've had specifically with an individual, a situation that happened. Let's go ahead and bring that up and let's talk about it. What would you all like to talk about vis-a-vis a referral? You're running into a challenge or a situation or an issue. If you are, go ahead and unmute yourself and let's get the power of the mastermind to help out.
Mike,
hey, how's it going, Dave?
I'm doing good, okay? All right, so this I'm trying to look at a mindset, right?
Sure.
Now, I think everybody's here is American, right? Because I'm a Canadian, right? Like that?
They're from all over the world, but pretty much from North America. That's the focus,
okay.
Guys. But they could be from anywhere.
Okay, so this is what I think, right? Okay, there's two things. Number one, I do real estate. I also do investment stocks and all that, right? I'm not sure what the stock market leads, I think, everything. That's one. And the U.S. real estate leads the Canadian real estate. Okay? But the difference is the Americans are worried about their prices, like being too high, and now they're dropping, right? But our prices are double. Okay? So let me give you a statistic. If the interest rates goes up 1% only, and you have a million mortgage, which a lot of people have a million mortgage, believe it or not, it costs $500 extra a month. And they could barely qualify for the 1 million when it was $500 less, right?
Sure.
So I've been in real estate 37 years, right? In 1989, the market went down 30%. 89 or 90, and it took 6 years for it to recover. But the interest rates were high, 12.5. You could reduce the interest rates, right? So now the interest rates are not high enough to reduce them. They're trying to increase them so they can reduce them, right?
Maybe they'll give us some negative interest rates, right?
No. I want to get a positive here. Here comes a positive, right? The positive is this: we can look at this two ways. The glass is half empty or it's half full. I choose to say that it's half full. And the reason I'm saying that is because for 2 years during COVID, people didn't need us at all. Because if they're selling their house, all they do is think about it, and they got 20, 30 offers, and they're going way over the listing price, right? Now, the people that bought those houses probably going to lose them, right? Now, I know in U.S., right, you have foreclosure. We have power of sale, okay? Now, I'm not trying to profess that I know about American real estate, but I did take a real estate course in U.S., actually, in Florida. So, correct me if I'm wrong. In U.S., if your house is foreclosed on, they'll throw you out, but the bank is responsible for the loss. Okay? In Canada, a power sale, they'll still throw you out, but the owner is responsible for the loss.
Yeah, that's recourse or non-recourse. It depends on how the note is written.
Exactly. Now, I don't think there's been one case in all the history of Canada and all the history of real estate where a power of sale redeemed. Because they just, all they do, they don't just walk away from the house. They run away and they try and hide in the bushes so the creditors don't know. So it's pretty rough, right?
Yeah.
I don't think in Canada, I think we're not going for a recession. I think we're going for a depression. However, the good news. You want to hear the good news?
I'd love to hear some good news.
Oh, okay. The good news is they need us now. They need us. Like it's life or death for them.
We're going to be more valuable.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my comment. So
Okay.
do I have a question? Yes, I have a question.
Right. Well, let's do that, Dave. And by the way, this is a referral mastermind. We're going to come back to referral.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Right now, we're going to go ahead and bump into this because I know everybody's experiencing a lot of pressure right now in their market because it's changing. And we've gone from a hyper market growth to a little bit of a plateau right now. And people are expecting a fall off the cliff, right? That's what everybody's looking at and worried about.
That is a guaranteed shot in Canada. It's guaranteed.
And the question is that going to happen and how do you adjust?
Okay, wait.
The first question for is it going to happen? We really don't have an answer yet, but we can have some expectations based on what we've seen in the past. Every market's different. Every trend is different, but there are a lot of interesting indicators. For sure, it's slowing down. The question is, does it go off a cliff and do we go into a recession or a depression, which is what you just brought up, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dave.
I have a bona fide example, a real example, right? I have a brother-in-law. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has a brother-in-law, right?
Sure.
But he's a nice, pretty boy. He's the baby of the family, right? So everybody lets him away with however he wants to do it. And he listens to his wife that has zero experience on anything.
Okay.
Right? And they upgraded 2 times in the last, say 4 years, 3 years maybe. Upgraded, went up. And I guarantee, well, I don't know for a fact because they didn't involve me because they don't need me, right? They don't need somebody they can trust. Any agent will do, right? So what happened is, I'm pretty sure they got a variable rate mortgage. That variable rate mortgage has doubled in 3 months, doubled. And it's going to go up more. It's going to triple probably.
Yeah,
so
people with ARMs are going to be in a tough spot right now. People with ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages are going to be in a tough spot right now.
Yeah. So here's my prediction. They ignore me, but maybe I'm going to ignore them unless they beg me. Then I might help them.
All right.
It costs me a lot of commission.
Let's address a couple of your points that are interesting, right? So one is that there's going to be a need for an expert when markets change. Yeah, I think that's one of your big points, and that's the optimistic side of this whole thing. And I would agree with you. Let me just point out a couple things, and then I want to open this up for anybody that wants to participate. A couple quick ideas and thoughts. If you look at where people make their big money, if you look at wealthy folks, for instance, they make more money in a recession than they do in an expansion. And they make a lot of money in that. The last expansion, they made a lot of money, but the smart ones are going to make a lot of money in the recession. And the same thing happened in real estate, by the way. If you look back to the last fall down, back in the real crash that we had worldwide, 2006, 7, 8, 9, depends on where you were when it happened. But people made a lot of money if they were able to capitalize on that shifting market. That was the first time we had top agents who were able to start to sell 500, 1,000 plus homes because they got into the REO here in the United States, as an example. And so there are opportunities in a shifting market. And I want everybody to think about that and keep their eyes open. I'm going to put one last little dot on the top of this, and that is you need to stay in touch with your past clients and your sphere of influence because they need our expertise now more than ever. They've got to be nervous, worried, concerned. If they're not now, they will be. And you need to make sure you're staying in front of them and showing and presenting the fact that you are the expert. I'll give you one. I know you're excited, Dave, but hold on. There's one more idea here, and that is that in a slowing market, commission rates go up. In a slowing market, commission rates go up. I don't know what your rate is, and obviously we can't say what it is, but for educational purposes, let's say that historically you've charged 10. I just made a number up. And in the latest market, you've now had to charge 5. When the market slows, you can start to charge 20. You understand that you can start to really move up because your competition is going to shrink. The discounters go away. The people who need your help need it. It takes longer to sell a home, so you need some more revenue. But the top agents are going to figure out how to shift into that. And everyone on this call needs to think about how they're going to shift. My last point on that is stay in tune with your past clients, your sphere of influence, and the people that are important to you, because they are going to continue to need, they're going to need you more in the future than they need you now. And it's going to continue to be your big pot of gold, if you will, when things shift. All right, go ahead, Dave. I know you got something else there.
Yeah, I'm making one comment and then I'm making a question. Okay.
Sure. We're going to open this up for other people to help us out.
Of course. Anybody can interrupt anytime. There's no issue, right?
Good. Yes, that's correct.
Anybody want to say something at the moment?
Go ahead.
No?
Go ahead, Dave.
Okay. In 07, 08, you guys had a bit of a rough time, right? Like mostly there's more foreclosure than there was houses for sale. Is that right? Well, for us, we had a little hiccup. That's all. No big deal.
Yeah, real estate is a local market, right? Every local area will have a different situation.
So in Toronto, a little hiccup.
Yeah.
Like nothing. In 017, there was a bigger hiccup, but because the government changed the rules, right? But other than that, there's been no real drop. But there's going to be a big drop now. I think it's okay. Listen to this. If you bought a house today, or no, March 15 for $1 million, okay? 7 years ago, that was 500,000. 7 years only. So if we just go back to 014, it's 50% down. The very first house I bought, 1983, it was a variable mortgage, 12 and a half. 37,000 only. 440 was my mortgage payment. It went up in 6 months to 17 and a half. My mortgage payment went up to 563. Put zeros on all those numbers, right? This time, there is no room to go down for the rates, only going up.
Well, they bumped up already. Here, they've already bumped up. They've gone from 3 to 6.
We're not finished
already,
yet. You're not finished yet either.
Go back down. There is room now, but I understand what you're saying. It could go up high. When I started studying, it was 18%. When I got in, it was 10%. I understand what you're saying.
So my question is, here's my question actually. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have about 600 or 700 in a database, for example, right? Now, some of those are past clients, right? But most of them are uncultivated leads. Like if I call them, they know who it is. They'll talk to me. We'll talk. A lot of these buyers are going to wait for the price to go down. They've been saying that for 10, 15 years, right?
Well, maybe now's their opportunity.
That's right. And the other thing is, I have a lead development right now, about 100 a month. I'm going to stop at 1,000. I don't think I need more than 1,000. Is that right?
I think you already have a pretty large database. You need to qualify that database, though. You need to take what you already have and cultivate through it and qualify who are your past clients, who are your sphere, that break. And then you need to go back through in that group and figure out who are your A's and your double A's, who have done business with you, who have sent you referrals, who have repeated, and how often. Those are the people you want to spend the most time with. They're going to become extremely valuable in the shifting market because they're going to have people coming. They're going to notice people with real estate problems and refer them over to you.
Okay, now the leads I'm getting 100 a month right now, they're all from Facebook or internet.
Sure.
But I want to get into
general leads,
toll-free numbers, and those are the better leads. Maybe I'll get less leads, maybe only 50, but I'll get those every month, right? So I would say by September, I don't need that much more lead generation. I need to follow up.
So you're trying to get up to 1,000 database.
Yeah.
But again, I would say I'd look at the quality of the database. You may already have a large enough database to meet all your needs. 1,000 may be too big. It may be too big. It may be too many people to keep up with. It depends on what kind of leads they are and what the source. Well, there's a difference between leads and a difference between past clients and sphere of influence. Okay. And this call is all about past clients and sphere of influence. If you want to talk about general leads, we can do another call on that, but that's different. That's a whole cultivation issue. That's a 1 in 100 closing issue. Okay. Where referrals is a 1 in 2 closing ratio. So that's why we want to focus on that side for our business and our base of our business. And if we don't have enough of a base, then we'll bring in some of these outside leads. That's my opinion of how you should run your business.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. And let's do this. Let's open this up a little bit, Dave, because you're kind of monopolizing the conversation. It's fun. And you and I could talk for an hour or two.
I'm going to fade out for a second. Is that all right?
Okay, that's fine. Let's do this. Let's open up for anybody else who would like to address this issue of are you seeing a shift in your market, and how do you plan on making the adjustment? What do you see in your market? Because remember, real estate is local. Dave mentioned that the U.S. had a little bit of a fallout, but it wasn't the same in every area. In Metro Denver, where I'm at, we fell 10 to 20%. It wasn't a real hit. But if you were down in, say, Phoenix, a lot of those people got hit 40, 50% and more. I heard some even higher than that. So it depends on where you're at and what the market is doing at the time, right? It doesn't matter what happened back in 06, 07, 08. That doesn't mean that's going to happen in your market now. It depends on what the characteristics are. But anyway, let's open this up to this thought of, if you would like to talk about or throw in a comment on a shifting market and what you're seeing and how you think it's going to play out, go ahead and open up and let me know what you think. Go ahead and unmute yourself. I think I kind of hear somebody. If I can't hear it, if you're trying to talk, go ahead and speak a little louder.
Hi, Mike. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. How's it going there? Who's this? I'm
good.
Sorry.
This is Lee Harkins in South Carolina.
Hey, Lee. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you as well. And good morning, everyone, or afternoon. Yeah, here in South Carolina, we are experiencing a lot of growth from New York, California, all up in the East Coast, Northeast. And then we get a lot of what I call halfbacks. They move from New York down to Florida and figure out it's hot, and then they move halfway back. And,
all right.
I just, our market has shifted right now. If a client comes to me and they're not in the 350 up to anything, a couple $1 million, I don't even mess with them.
Sure, that's the way the market's been, right?
There's no inventory. There's no inventory in the 150, 250 or whatever. And what you do is, it kind of goes back to what you're talking about, qualifying your clients. There's simply no inventory in those smaller price ranges, and what you wind up doing is spending 2 or 3 months looking for something that doesn't exist, and you're burning a lot of $5 a gallon gas and wasting your time. And so that's kind of the situation that I'm seeing right here in South Carolina right now. And a lot of cash deals are coming in as well. People selling their homes in California, New York, whatever, coming down with cash in hand. So that's all good. I've got several clients right now I'm working with that are relocating from other states with buckets of cash. And the main thing right now is just trying to find that 10 acres downtown with a waterfall and a unicorn, and but the market is still relatively strong in the higher levels, but it's just the way it is here right now. But so I don't know if that helps anybody or if that's similar to anyone else or not. But
so Lee, what I'm hearing is your market is continuing to stay strong. You've got a bottom of your market price range of 350-ish and on up. And so if you've got a buyer under that, they're having struggles. and a lot of them are moving under that now because of the interest rate changes, the affordability for their properties changing. That's why you're mentioning the people with cash, they don't have that issue, although they're going to become more cautious as things slow down. Also, I'm picking up that you may be working with more buyers than sellers. Is that true?
Well, it's because that's what I've focused on lately. I have a plan this week to start farming more than I have in several months. But there again, I'm going to be farming those higher priced neighborhoods, and because there are the people with the money that can actually do something right now.
Let me, if you don't mind, I'm going to throw in a couple ideas real quick on that.
Please.
And first idea is this: you should make sure that you're farming your database first. And when I say database, I mean your past client and sphere of influence database. Make sure you have a really strong campaign going there first before you go to other lead sources, right? For instance, I did a lot of my business and my career through geographic farming. I understand that. I understand it well. I've done a lot of it and been successful there. But I also know it's very expensive and it takes time to develop, and there are a lot of mistakes that are made as you're doing that. And so you really should be capitalizing on your core business that's the most profitable and investing in that first, which is your PCSOI, because it's a very low investment. It's more of an investment of time than money to make sure that that's set up and profitable. And for most experienced agents, that feeds them so well, they don't really need this outside business. The outside business actually becomes a distraction for them, depending on how big your database is. It's why it's so valuable and important to build out your list and know exactly how many people are in your PCSOI and pass the SOI test. Again, if people don't know, the SOI test is you're walking in the grocery store down the aisle, somebody else is coming the other way, you recognize them, they recognize you, you know each other's names, and you can strike up a conversation. If they pass that test, they are in your SOI. That's somebody who could send you a referral or do business with you. And so that would go in your PCSOI. If they're not passing that test, they're in a different lead group. Okay. And so I'm just talking about PCSOI. You should develop that first before others. Let me give one other quick idea on your geo farm, just because you mentioned it. You're talking about going up to the upper end and luxury in a upward moving market. That is a fantastic idea, because a lot of activity happens in the upward moving market where there's going to be a lot of action at the top. Okay. In a downward moving market, if you think that's what we're going in, and I'm not saying whether we're going up or down, but it's trending to change. If we go into a downward market, the upper end gets hit the hardest. They fall as far as demand and number of sales, and then eventually pricing. The way I was taught it before, and I think this is a really good analogy, is a dog's tail. It's a dog's tail, and the upper end of the market is at the tip of the tail, and the lower end of the market is closer to the dog. And so as it's waving up and down, that's what's happening in the market, right? So when the market goes up, the upper end at the tip, those prices and those demands go up faster and then when it goes down, they go down faster. Whereas the lower end or the middle range doesn't move as quick. So it's usually a good strategy to stick with the middle of the market, because that's where the most activity is. The lower end of the market has that affordability problem with people being able to qualify and getting financing and so forth. Unless you're working with investors and rentals, then it becomes very attractive. The middle of the market, though, is kind of your core. So you can do anything you'd like, but just keep in mind the luxury end of the market. I wouldn't put all my eggs in that basket, and I would definitely focus on PCSOI first. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely true. And over the years, I've done a fairly good job of staying in touch with former clients. I got sidetracked 2 or 3 times by changing CRMs and and all that nightmare. But you're absolutely right. It's staying in touch with your sphere of influence and your former clients is gold. Absolutely true. But and another thing for me is I'm not looking to sell 30 houses again. I mean, for 10 10 years, I was trying to sell 20 and 30 and 40 houses a year. I'm past that. If I can sell 5 or 10 big ones, I'm good, you know? And
have you taken,
so,
do you know what
there's a
your,
lot of factors at play.
I'm sorry, Lee, do you know what your referral productivity percentage is?
Not a true number. I would say, and it depends on how the referral comes in. If it's a referral from another agent, I'm 100%, because I'm going to work it and work it and work it. Some of them, of course, take longer, but if it's some kind of a third-party lead or something like that, probably 50-60%.
I'm sorry, let me clarify, Lee, what I mean by that. Referral productivity percentage. What that means is if you took your database and you counted up how many people were in it, and then you do another number, you go and you look at how many referral closings you've had in the year out of that database. So if you had, you said 5, if you had 5 referral closings that came out of the database, and your database is 100 people, you have a 5% referral productivity percentage. Do you know what yours is? If you were to do, have you done that math?
No, I don't know that number.
Okay, so people need to do that math. Let me tell you why. You need to know what your how your database is doing and its health of it before you can move on to these other leads. You want to get that referral productivity percentage up, probably between 10 and 20%. Okay, so agents who are kind of checking this out and they're not serious enough about it, they're probably around the 5%. They have something, they're doing something, but it's not enough. It's probably around 5% in this referral productivity percentage. Agents who are starting to get some traction are probably around 10%. And the best agents, the best solo agents, they're around 20%. That means they're getting 20, if they had a list of 100, they're getting 20 referral closings out of that list every single year, right? And then I actually know somebody's got 34%, but that's unusual. So and the reason I'm bringing this all up is if you know that you only want to do your 5 or 10, which is fantastic, you know what you need and what your goals are, it tells me that you might have that already with your database. If you could look at the size of your database, say you said you've been doing this for a while now, maybe you got a list of 100 to 200. Let's say you got 200 for fun and you do 5% repeat your referral productivity percentage, you got 10 closings a year coming out of that. You might not need to do anything else. You're set. All you have to do is keep feeding that database, keep working the database, maybe improve what you're doing to it to get better contacts and referrals out of it, maybe better offers, call to actions, etc., to stay in front of those people. Does that make sense? Oh, I lost you. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope that helps. And I know you just wanted to come in and tell us about the South Carolina. And by the way, my mom's from North Carolina. I love the South down there. I love spending a lot of time there. It's a beautiful country.
It is.
And the halfback set. Is that what you said, halfback? Is that right? We've been halfback?
Yes.
That was a good one. Your market is going to probably shift a little bit. And so I just want to warn you about that as far as focusing too much on luxury. I hope that was helpful. Do you have any questions about anything?
Yeah, no, but everything you said is true. And when I said I don't work anybody below 350, it depends. If they come to me and they're fully qualified, conventional or cash or something, then I'll help them. But I'm just not seeking out the $150,000, $200,000 people.
That makes sense. You're
blind leads.
You're doing a good business.
I'm going to qualify them as B or C and put them on the back burner. I'll send them, set them up in a search and let the computer work, but I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on them.
That makes sense. And I'm glad to hear that you at least have them incubating back there a little bit, because if our market does take a radical shift, they may become valuable. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So So I don't know if today is the time to start turning business away, but you mentioned another good point. You know, you're obviously a pretty sharp guy. You got to make sure they're qualified, right, before you're spending any time with them. You're going to have to get really strong on your qualifying of the people you work with, no matter what the source. And when we say qualified with buyers, we're talking about making sure that they're pre-approved with their lender and you know exactly what they're able to do before you spend time with them. That's always a wise idea. And then number two, you're going to qualify your sellers, okay? Because a lot of them were kind of throwing spaghetti against the wall to see what would happen in this fast upward moving market. Now you got to make sure you know what their motivation is so you don't get into it, start spending time with them, and then they pull the plug because they can't get 3 times what their house was worth or what they thought it was, right? So you got to find out what their motivation is and make sure that you know where they're going to and that it's achievable before you start investing your time and resources in them.
Well, that brings up a good point, because one of the reasons I haven't been working seller leads as much is because most of the people that would sell their homes here, there's no market for them to go to. So,
Right.
you know, if they're moving out of state, and there's a reason that they are going to sell, absolutely. But, you know, the typical scenario of I'm going to move over to the next county doesn't hardly exist anymore because there's no inventory. You know,
Well,
they
that's
want to
probably
sell their
about
house
to
and be
change.
stuck. Yeah.
The whole shift it's going to be a lot of dynamics to change, right? If what we all anticipate this with the Fed increasing the interest rates and trying to get a hold of the economy, there's definitely a slowdown. There may be a recession. Nothing to be scared of. It's scary, but there's nothing to be scared of because you can make an adjustment. There are going to be adjustments in the market. Everybody, nice thing about our position as brokers is we're able to adjust and move to these markets. We're able to help sellers. We're able to help buyers and the different power positions that they have, as long as you keep your mind open to what's going on and these shifts. Lee, this has been a lot of fun, and I just want to make sure that we're opening up to everybody. Does anybody else have any comments that they would like to make about either the shifting market, what's happening in their market, or a challenge that they are experiencing that they would like us to address? Let's go ahead and unmute yourself and bring up the idea to the mastermind. Hey, Donna.
Hi. I just had a situation the other day where I had a client for a customer, I should say, for a number of years, looking at a particular condo building, an elderly woman. So a listing came up, sent it to her. And in my email, I told her that I relocated from New Jersey to Florida. So now because I relocated, she no longer wants to work with me. So in the future, should I not tell my New Jersey clients that I've relocated? I'm keeping the New Jersey license. I have someone who can take care of showings for me, but basically I can do everything else remotely. So should I not say anything?
Wow. So let me back up then. Let's make sure we understand the story of what happened and see if it's a one-off or if it's an issue to be concerned about. So it sounds to me like you're from New Jersey?
Correct. And we moved to Florida 2 months ago. I'm going to study for the Florida license. So I'll have 2 licenses.
And you're keeping your business intact in New Jersey?
Correct. As best as I can, yes.
Good. And so you've got somebody that was in New Jersey, you've been talking to, that was going to go make an offer on a place, but when they discovered you were out of state, they got cold feet.
Well, we never actually visited together, but over the years, for about 3 or 4 years, we have been visiting the various units as they come up, and she's very specific as to location, etc. So I don't know how serious a buyer she really is. Sure. But I played along with it all these years, and all of a sudden I'm dropped like a hot potato because I'm no longer local.
You don't know what the real reason is, though, Donna. Remember, you can't get in people's minds. So was the real problem that you weren't local, or was the real problem that interest rates went up and they can't afford it, or that they heard the market has shifted and they got scared, or they just had some personal issue happen with their family and they're not telling you the full story? They just say, well, I don't want to see it anymore, or whatever. I'm just saying you don't know all the pieces of that particular person's problem. Now, the other question is this: you're trying to work remotely from one market to the other. Sounds like you have a nice PCSOI database in the old market.
Correct.
And the question is, how do you intend to work? This is a great one. Some people are in this situation. I've talked to quite a few. How do you intend to continue to work the New Jersey business while you're living in Florida?
By using one of my colleagues will help out, and she'll earn a portion of the commission. We have to decide on something. We're trying to work on a listing right now, as a matter of fact, together. So using colleagues from the office that I trust and have known for a number of years.
That's great. So you're going to co-market on the listing, and you're going to co-broke, I assume, also on the buy side.
Correct.
Are you going to negotiate the contracts on the buy side and use them, the person there, more as a showing agent, or are you going to refer them to business and they're going to actually work it and you get more like a referral fee?
That's a good question. And then the other question is, how much referral fee? Do we have to do everything 50-50? Do they get less? That's a very good question. We haven't gotten that far yet on the numbers.
What do you see or anticipate? You could brainstorm here if you want. And I'm sure everybody would be interested in hearing what you have to say.
Well, I guess on the buyer side, I have another option. There's a company called Showami where you can pay agents to show the property, $25 to $50 a showing. That's a possibility. And then I get the whole commission, or give maybe like 35% to, if it's something on the buying side, maybe it should be 50%. If it's something on the listing side, maybe 35%. I don't know. Because on the listing side, I would certainly handle most of the negotiations, et cetera, working with the owner.
Did you say on the listing side, you're going to continue to be active and negotiate the transaction? And it also sounded like on the buyer side, that's something that's attractive to you as well.
Right. Or I can hand that over to the other agent for the buyer. I don't know. What would you recommend?
Well, there's a lot of
other people would do.
Yeah, it's a good area. It's an interesting area because there's not a lot out there on it. So you can be very flexible. Let's put it that way. And so it really comes down to the person that you're working with. I know, as for most of us, we would like the variable rate as the payer, right? We would like to pay them a percentage only if it closes. But the person on the other side, we don't know what they want. Especially as things are slowing down, they may prefer an hourly rate so that they can keep their lights on. And you pay them, once a week, or once every 2 weeks, or once a month. So there's different models there. All you're doing basically is, instead of running, for instance, with buyers, instead of running a showing agent model where the showing agents are running around and you're negotiating the contract locally, it's just that you're in a different state, a different city sitting there. But with technology, it could be just like you're right there. And so I could certainly see you running that model. Let me go back to your very first question, which is, should you disclose to the client what's going on? And my personal answer is yes. You should tell them, I'm out of state. I've got a person there that's going to be doing all the legwork. I'm doing all the brain work from here. They're doing all the legwork from there. Maybe that's how you phrase it to help people out. And this model is working great. I can help you if you're uncomfortable with it. I understand. I can refer you to an agent who can do all the brain work and the leg work there. But you've known me for a long time. You know I'm going to do a phenomenal job for you. And I can continue to do all the brain work here and just have someone help me with the leg work there. What do you think? Is that okay with you? And let them know. Then there's no confusion. Because at some point they're going to know you're not around, right?
Right. No, of course. No, that sounds very good.
And if it works and works great, then you have a testimonial that you would get from them to share with the next person.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to be really difficult when Donna told me she was going to be the brain and somebody else was going to be the legs. I never thought that would work. But you know what? It worked phenomenally well. Let me tell you what happened. Right? That kind of testimonial is what you're going to be looking for, and try to get it on video so you can share with everybody else.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Sure. what a great challenge. I like that you're running, by the way, that you're trying to run your business outside of another market and continue with your PCSOI. The models that are there, of course, are you just do it as a referral basis. You hand it off for a referral fee. And in that case, it would, my recommendation, by the way, is always a lower referral fee. Nobody likes what I say, but I think you should only ask for like 20%. And the reason I do that is because I'm pretty confident the other agent on the other side is really going to work it. They're going to get paid well for working hard. And then I get a little, a thank you at the end. And then you can run it all the way back to where you get the bulk of it by running the brain side of it. And that's a little harder to do, but there are agents that are successfully doing it out there. All right, let's open it up. Does anybody else have comments for Donna on what she's doing or would like us to address a situation that they're running into? Go ahead and unmute yourself and let us know what you're thinking. Right. Well, we've got this. This has been an interesting call because everyone's dealing with these changes that are occurring or the potential change of what they see. I think the best thing to remember is to stay centered when these things happen, when we see changes in the market, because they happen all the time. It's constantly changing. Things are always changing in our business, which makes it so fun, right? If you stay creative and solution oriented, you will find the opportunities. If you stay calm when everybody else is freaking out, you will be able to see things that other people don't see, and you will be able to help it. And also, if you stay in that role of helping your clients, it becomes really easy. That's why I say in a market like this, refocus in. Take this time. If you have a little bit of downtime right now, that's perfect. Take the time to shift your attention back in your PCSOI and focus on these people. These are the people that know, like, and trust you already. You don't have to prove yourself to them. These are people, though, you need to remind them that you're around. Remember that NAR study where they went out and studied people 1 year after the closing, and they said, hey, did you have a good transaction? Most said yes. And they said, hey, did you like the work your agent did? And they said yes. And the next question was, would you hire your agent again? And 84% of the people said yes, they would hire their agent again. That's huge. Think about that. 84% said yes. More than 4 out of 5 said yes, they'd hire their agent again. The very next question was, oh, great. What was the name of your agent a year ago? 11% of the people could answer that question. It's just shocking. And so the problem is you got to make sure you're staying in front of them. You got to make sure that you remind them that you were part of the transaction, that you're available to help them again or available to help their friends and family. This is a great time to get back in touch with those folks. And one of the great things you could do right now is educate them on the market. This is what's going on. This is how the changes are occurring. This is how it may affect you. If you want to talk about it, let's talk. Okay. All right. So we're going to wrap this up if we don't hear another thought or comment, but I want to leave it open for you. If you have a challenge or issue you would like us to address, go ahead and unmute yourself and let us know what you're thinking.
Hey,
Dave.
One more comment.
Sure.
Okay, our market in Toronto, GTA, is the same size as Chicago.
Sure.
Okay? But the
great.
difference is Chicago has 11,000 agents. We have 60,000.
Right.
So I think some might be dropping out.
You got a little bit of competition there, do you?
A little bit. If you meet anybody in Toronto, they have a friend, a neighbor, and a relative, all three that are real estate agents.
Okay, so you've been doing this for 38 years, is that right? What are you going to do in this market to stand out and not be one of the casualties? This is a great question for you. You've been doing this for 38 years. How are
Okay.
you not going to be a casualty as the
Okay.
market changes?
So let me answer that question. That's a very good question. I have a very good answer. Okay. My first year in real estate was the best. I had no technology, no coaching, nothing. Well, no, I'm sorry. I lied. I did have a coaching. My broker said, work hard, think real estate. Course is over. What else you want to know?
Big time coaching. Yep.
No, that's pretty, no, but it worked because I did 35 deals in 6 months, equivalent of $1 million commission in today's money, like that. Okay. So, but I was aggressive, right? So I have to be a little more politically correct. So I need more numbers because that I have enough marketing that they'll call me first because that's why I got all the leads. They're all calling me first, right? But I have to be able to convert them, but I have to do it in a very nice, politically correct way so I don't blow them out, right? And I'm also going to I had some with no phone numbers. I'll get rid of those too, right? So I'll narrow it down for at least 100. Over the years, they move, they have no phone, whatever, right? So in answer to your question, it's frustrating because right now I'm spending while not making, but I know it's coming. And I'm very confident about that. So
let's talk about that for a second. When the market turns and your budget gets tighter, right?
Yeah.
It gets a little harder. Your revenues may be falling off a little bit. That's a time to button down the hatches, not spend money on things you don't know that don't work, right?
Okay.
This is not the time to take a flyer and buy 1,000 internet leads, right? I mean, if you want to and you want to do a Hail Mary, go ahead. But in my opinion, you should be reducing your cost. Anything that looks risky or unnecessary, this is the time to reduce that and take that money and refocus it into the things that you do know work, right? Or take half of the savings and reinforce it. And you mentioned that you have this great database as an example of these past clients that you've been helping for a long period of time. Anybody on the call who has a database, I highly recommend you take just a little bit of that money and refocus it on them. There's multiple ways to do that. You can listen to our success calls if you're part of Real G, whatever. There's so many things out there. Just take these ideas and focus it. The whole point is just focus in on your PCSOI, spend 80% of your time there. And then if you want, spend 20% developing other type of business. Yeah. But this is the time to reduce. Oh, and with that idea, let me throw out, because you cued me on a couple thoughts. Mm-hmm. If you're sending out a lot of marketing and mail out pieces, and as an example, and they're costing money, you might. By the way, I think you should continue to do that to your PCSOI, because again, that's where you're going to get the greatest returns. But if you're doing it to a geo farm or whatever, you can shift and use some more of your time versus your money. So you could start making phone calls. You could start doing some door knocks. The idea of a pop by. You can go maybe write some personal notes and get them out. Something that's a little more of a connection. Anyway, you can use more of your time rather than your money in these kind of markets. Go ahead.
That's great. Thank you.
All right, cool. Anybody else? Thank you, Dave. Anybody else have any other thoughts, issues, concerns that you would like us to address? We got a few more minutes here, and then we're going to wrap it up if nobody else has a comment. Did I hear somebody? I thought I heard somebody. I want to make sure you get help if you need it. All right, well, hopefully this has been a good session for you. I really enjoyed everybody coming in and participating in the Referral Mastermind Call. We tried to record this. We try to record each of them. If it did record, we'll go ahead and get it put up into the group, the Facebook group. If you missed the first part, or you want to re-listen to any of this, or I like to re-listen to these things at speed. You can listen at double or 1.5 double speed, those kind of things. You can do that inside the Facebook group. You can also do it out on YouTube. We'll be posting this out on YouTube. That's on our channel, Mastermind Agent Network is the name of the channel. If you type Mastermind Agent Network, you'll get there. And then look for Mastermind Call. That's the group of these that we do, that we post out there. so that people can listen. If you do that, we'll get there. We're doing these calls once a week. If you have anything that you think of as you're going through your week that you would like help with, specifically on referrals and how to get more referrals from your past clients and sphere of influence, be sure to jot that down so you can bring your question next week, and the mastermind can help focus our attention on that, see if we can help you out. Again, thank you so much for joining us this week. Thank you so much to everybody who participated in the call, both with their issues and with listening and their contribution. All right, take care. Bye now.